Today, we'll explore how these vibrant celebrations honor rivers and also how they can sometimes affect their health. But don't worry, we'll also learn simple ways to celebrate responsibly while protecting our rivers, right? And here's the best part. You'll get to do a fun DIY experiment to see how our offerings can pollute rivers and how to avoid it. So, did everyone bring their 2 glasses of water, petals, and mud like we had asked them? Did you? Hmm? No? Oh, Ruhan hasn't got it. Okay. Who else? Manas, we also know. Oh, don't worry. I think we'll give you time at the end. All you have to do is get 2 glasses of water. Okay. One, get some petals, flower petals. Okay. I'm sure there must be flowers here and there. Or in case you don't have petals, then our speaker will give you an alternative. And you have to carry some mud. थोड़ी सी मिट्टी. All right. 2 पानी की ग्लास, थोड़े से फूल के पत्ते और थोड़ी सी मिट्टी. Got it? And when do you have to get it? Just in a few minutes. Right now. So if you don't have it, don't worry, you will have time to grab them after the presentation. And during the presentation, here's a heads up. You'll all be on mute, but the chat will be open. So feel free to share your thoughts there. If you have any questions, just hit the raise hand button in the reactions tab, and I'll call on you during the question and answer session at the end. Okay? And now, let me introduce our wonderful speaker, Dr. Mehak Puri. Dr. Mehak is a senior research associate at the Center for Science and Environment, New Delhi. She is a PhD in environmental science from the Council of Science and Industrial Research, National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, from both the places. And she has spent over 5 years working on environmental impact assessment and finding cool ways to manage emerging contaminants in wastewater. And here's the fun part. Dr. Mehak isn't just a science whiz. She's an amazing dancer, writer, and sports star who plays badminton, table tennis, and even swims. And get this, I'm a witness to her awesome dance moves because she's just won a prize at our office retreat. So you're in for a treat today. And before we begin, let's kick things off with a Zoom quiz to warm up your brains, right? Zoom quiz. Try to answer all the questions. Don't forget to submit your responses. We'll share your scores and reveal the correct answers afterward. So let's see who's ready to ace it. Okay? We are going to start a Zoom quiz. It just has 5 questions. Take your time, attempt all the questions, and submit it. Are you able to see the questions? Yeah? Dhruvi, Sanjana, Yatharth, are you able to attempt the quiz easily? Jianshi, are you done? You have a question? I'll come to you at the end. All right. Have most of you submitted your answers? Only 17 people have submitted their answers. I will really encourage you to participate in this challenging exercise, which will prepare you for the session. People, come, let's be proactive. I know it's winter and we are all frozen. Our minds are also frozen, but let us gather some energy. Are you able to see the questions? Which source provides the safest water for drinking without treatment? That's the question number one. Huh? Yasmin, are you able to see the questions now? You mentioned that you are not able to see the questions. Do give a response in the chat strip itself. Ruhin is saying that the questions are not submitting. Ruhin, are you able to submit them? Yeah? No? Why don't you restart?
We have to raise hands.
Okay. So far we have received responses from only 44 people, which is 56% participation. I think that's a very sorry participation. I will really encourage you to participate and submit your answers. Let us give you 1 minute more. Vihan, in case my voice is not clear, I will request you to maybe restart Zoom. So far, our internet connection is fine here, so I believe that the audio video should be fine. Shankara, you're saying that your mind is not frozen. Let us check your answers. I will look forward to your responses. All right, so my friend Sukanya is now going to close the quiz. Okay, so here are the results. First of all, almost 60% of you have participated. And for the first question, which source provides the safest water for drinking without treatment? The correct answer is underground spring. And oh my God, a lot of you are actually correct. You are real water warriors. That's great. 53% of you, like 28 people, have answered this correctly. That's wonderful. Next question. Which of these is the most common cause of water pollution in cities? In cities, how does water gets polluted? Which is the most important cause for it? And a majority of you have said industrial waste to be the answer. But unfortunately, the correct answer is sewage. Don't worry, we have our expert with us. She will take you through all of this and explain why. Next, which of these is the most effective way to reduce water pollution in your home? The most effective way to reduce water pollution in your home. And here, there is a tough, it seems that you found this question a little tough because only 34% have said that the best way to reduce water pollution is to properly dispose of household waste. So, the correct answer is actually option B, which is properly dispose of household waste. More on this will be by our speaker. The fourth question is, consuming polluted water can cause serious health issues, right? Which of these diseases is not caused by polluted water? Okay, which of these diseases is not caused by polluted water? So a majority of you have actually got it correct. Cholera, typhoid, and jaundice, all three are caused by polluted water, except malaria. So congratulations. And the last question is, which of these contributes the most to water on earth? Which of these contributes most to water on earth? I understand this is a little challenging and a tricky question. In the first attempt, even I got it wrong, but I'm glad to see that a lot of you have actually given it a tough fight. Though majority of you have given the wrong answer, but almost 40% of you have got it right. 21 students have voted for the correct option, which is option A, rain and underground water. Rain and underground water actually contributes the most to water on earth. So congratulations to all of you, and don't get disheartened. This is just a quiz, a warm-up quiz. In fact, we are going to have more fun as we follow. So let's get back. And now, without further ado, let's give a big round of applause to Dr. Mehak Puri as we hand over the session to her. Over to you, Mehak.
Thank you, Anubhuti, for a wide. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah. Thank you, Anubhuti, for such a warm welcome. And I'm happy to see such lovely, cute faces who are, in a true sense, water warriors and young environmentalists. And to see their participation while they're doing the quiz and making the correct choices. Yes, I'm here to actually redo and rework on your few concepts and make sure that in near future, when you're proceeding in your classes and you're learning more about water, rivers, pollution, all of these things, the points really click you, and you are the first person to actually reply the right and the correct answers to your teachers and be the prize winners in your classrooms and your schools as well. So, thank you everybody for joining, and surely it will be an interactive session. So, proceeding further, is everybody able to see my slide? Just give a. Oh, okay. That's great. Thank you. So, there will be few questions which I'll be asking you, and I will be very glad if you could really share it with me on the chat box. And if you have any queries or certain questions, that also you can put it up and we can take at the end of the session. So, first, I would really like to ask that why rivers and how do they affect us? So, why it is important for us to understand about rivers. So anybody. I'm sorry, I couldn't. Okay. So proceeding further. So this is a river, this is a stream. So why it is important is first that water is from rivers. So if anybody or any of us would have given about this fact that majorly all the capitals in our countries, we have rivers. For example, uh, India is a country and New Delhi is its capital, and yet we have a river that's called Yamuna, that's flowing in between Delhi. Then we have certain different examples of different countries like Sri Lanka, whose capital is Colombo, and we have Kelani River. Then we have England, whose capital is London, and we have Thames. And then we have Japan, whose capital is Tokyo, and we have Sumeda River. So this signifies the importance that our cities are so much dependent on rivers. Second, that if uh, there's a lot of heat And to beat the scorching heat, we need a lot of water, and where which is so important for us. And the revival of rivers are so important for us in such times. Then the third aspect to it is that due to the climate change events, due to the extreme events, we are really affected by the quantity of the rainfall we receive. So now you would back when your conversation is with your teachers or with your parents or your elder brothers and sisters, you'll come across that many of your elders would be talking about that, nowadays we are receiving less rainfall, or the months of receiving the rainfall has shifted. So, because these events are happening because of the climate change, because of the extreme weather events, which has really affected our supply to the rivers, our water supply to the rivers. And the last is that because there is a low water levels in rivers, we often face water scarcity, water availability, and hence the sustainability is at question. So, what is a river? I would really, though I'm explaining it, but I would also like your participation if you could really put it up in your simple language in the chat box, and we can have a discussion at the end that what do you really mean by river? So, a river is a water body that moves from its source. So the source are majorly at the higher altitudes, like it can be your snow, your glaciers, your icebergs, and then the other source could be the rainfall. So uh, the water that flows or that moves from the higher altitude to the lower one, and then hence meeting up the mouth or the channel of or the bed under the influence of the gravity. Gravity is nothing. When we just drop a ball and the ball is coming down, it's just simple the force of gravity. So here I'll be explaining. So here you can see a huge mountain, ice mountain, the snow which is covered with snow cover, and then we have clouds with full of rains. So that is our source. So from there the river originates. Then it flows in through different channels or the tributaries. So the smaller rivers, because we do not have a source at one place, the source can be at different places. So from all the different places, when the river is being formed or the stream of water is being formed, hence they are not coming from the single place, they are coming from different places, and hence they form a smaller rivers or the streams forming a large or the bigger one, and hence the smaller ones are called as the tributaries. And next, when they form the larger ones, further as they move forward, then they hence have certain branches, they move into different branches, and they flow out to different, forming different channels, that is called as the distributaries. And further, while they distribute, they often form different shapes, and certain crescent shaped lakes along the rivers, when they're formed, they're called as the oxbow lake. And further, when we have two or more rivers that are joining in, for example, if we take Delhi, we have Yamuna that is flowing in. And once it goes to the state of the Uttar Pradesh, we have Ganga, which also comes in. And the point where the Yamuna and the Ganga they meet, that place is Prayagraj. Previously, it was called as Allahabad, and now it's called as Prayagraj, which is also called as Triveni Sangam. So, once that point of meeting of two or more rivers, that is the confluence, and once the river flows in, it meets the mouth or the ocean, that is your river mouth, and it ends up into the ocean. So all these rivers, there are different rivers which meet up different oceans or the sea. So we have Arabian Sea, where Narmada, Tapi River, Sabarmati River, all these rivers, they flow in, they finally meet their mouth, the river mouth. And then we have into the Bay of Bengal, we have Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra, Godavari, Mahanadi. So the Mahanadi, it flows from Chhattisgarh and Orissa, and hence meeting the Bay of Bengal. And then we have the uh, Kaveri. So all these rivers, they have, or they go into the different, they have different river mouths, and they meet the final ocean, the large water body. So, what does rivers provide us? We have understood what is a river, why, how, or the definition from where it comes to the source to its finally the end, the mouth of the river. So why, what does these rivers, when they flow from different cities, what do they provide us? So the first thing that they provide is the water supply, which is the most important aspect, which is why we are here to understand why rivers are so important and how to keep them from not polluting. So, the second aspect which comes in is the biodiversity. Rivers, they have their own aquatic system, they have their own aquatic ecosystem, which has different sea animals, fishes, your plants, which are called as the phytoplanktons. Then you have smaller insects, which are called as the zooplanktons. So all these things, all this aquatic ecosystem is embedded, is connected with our rivers. The third aspect is the food source. Mostly, majorly, the cities which are on the riverside, they are majorly dependent on their food sources from the rivers. Then the recreation. M- Many of us would like to go for a wonderful picnic along the riverside. All of us would want to go for a boating, for a sailing. So, all these things are provided because we have rivers around us. Then we have a cultural significance. Like Anubhuti in the initial introduction, she has stated that how rivers are connected to the different cultural significance or the festives that we celebrate, which I will be asking you in the coming slides, that you have to identify that what all festivals, name of the festivals, are connected to the rivers. Next is the erosion and the sediment transport. So, majorly, most of our minerals that we receive is through the rivers, because they weather, they take, they erode all the essential sediments from the higher to the lower parts. And hence, we get all these mineral contained water, which is highly nutritious for us, very good for our human health. So, all these things are provided because of the rivers. And the last is the flood control. So, just imagine that if our cities are experiencing heavy rainfall and we don't have rivers or streams around us, all our roads, all our surroundings would be flooded with water. So, rivers are that important because they take up the water. They take up as much water as they can. But yet, there are certain measures that needs to be adapted when we go in for the flood control. That is planting more trees, which help us keep our embankments safe, so that the water is only contained or is properly flowing within the river and is not flooding our roads or our surroundings, our cities. So now everybody has to guess the first image I'm putting up, and all of you have to respond on the chat box that what this festival is about. Here you go. So, which is the first festival? I'm giving you few seconds to reply because then the answer is going to pop up. So, I'm going to see who is going to reply to that. Come on. Yes, yes, yes. So many of you have got the answer right. Yes, it is Ganesh Chaturthi. Great, great. I'm really glad. So now the second one. Come on, again, few seconds. Okay, yes, yes. Wow. Excellent. Some of you have said Pongal, but Puja. Great. Majorly, you guys have got it correct. I'm like so glad you know everything. So, which is this one? This is the recent one. Everybody should guess. Most of your parents would also be telling, let's go, let's go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, it is the Mahakumbh. Absolutely right. So, here's the next one. Come on. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So, this is the last one. And whosoever is going to guess this, I think they know everything because this is a bit tough. Okay. Revealing the answer, that's Pushkaram. That's majorly, yes. Rakshita has got it right. Yeah. Okay. So, proceeding to the next. So, what is water pollution? So, water pollution is nothing, but it is all about that if the clean water has a lot of contaminants into it, like it can be contaminated. I will be telling the sources. So it can be contaminated, which is not appealing to our eyes, all of those contaminants. It can be we can identify them in form of color, in form of odor, and even the while you drink, we don't say that, but you can often the clear water can also come as a polluted one. So certain example is that if we discharge a lot of sewage or the toxic chemicals, and they are hence mixed with the pollutants, we often tell that water polluted. So diagrammatically I've tried to explain that a natural stream, if you can see, is how clean the water is, blue color. And then the water coming from the institutions or the residential areas, the industries. From the institutions and the residential areas, the water comes in the form of sewage. So, if all of those from the car washes, if from all those, if you can see, this color has started to change, that really shows that we are really contaminating our water. So these are the different sources, and also dumping our solid waste. That is also one form of how we can identify that the water is polluted. And then you can see certain green algal growth being formed on the water body, that also states that our water body is contaminated. So, do you feel that if you had got an opportunity and your life is so much dependent on that fluid, and if we pour the sewage or the rubbish or any other poisonous chemicals into it, so do you feel that we should have it, or is it right or wrong? So, how many of you say it's yes or no? I want it in the chat box. Just few seconds to have your answer. Absolutely. It's wrong that we should not be having these contaminants when our life is so much dependent on that fluid. So here are the five main polluters which we can like really identify and simplify in our terms, that the plastics, paints and colors from the industries we are coming, urine and feces that collectively forms the sewage, flowers during the offerings if we are doing it, and the oil which often comes from the automobile industries, or when you're in the ocean through the oil spills, if you can see. So this is the clean water, how it looks. And when it comes to the polluted water, this is how the color changes because of all these five contaminants when we've poured in. So, can anybody guess this pollutant's name? It is very easy, just giving you a few seconds. Come on, everyone. Just guess. Arav got it right. Yes, Aradhya, Razel. Absolutely. So, you guys are guessing it right. Wow. That's plaster of Paris. That's POP. So POP is majorly found in the idols, which we really immerse when we're having such festives, and they're very highly dangerous or harmful for us as a human being, and also to the organisms that are within the aquatic ecosystem. So what happens is that we have used a lot of paints on when we have those idols. So those have certain metals which we term as a heavy metal, like lead and cadmium, which are really very dangerous to our human body and is often toxic. So that is where around in 2013, the government of India had actually proposed not having POPs while forming the idols. So I think each of us should be aware of it and must see to it that we are finding certain eco-friendly options, which is made of the soil part, because it takes a very long time, months, to degrade. And if we are having certain environment friendly options like made up of soil, which can only dissolve itself within few hours, so that is much reasonable one when we are celebrating the festives. Let's just keep those things in mind. So, how do you really identify if the water is polluted? So, a lot of lab based experiments are being performed. So, few basic ones, if to tell, is the color. Like you saw in the previous slides, the clean and the orange part when we are having a polluted water, how it looks. Then the acidity content. Acidity content is nothing, but it is just to see that if the acidity content is high or low. If it is like it termed as a pH, which really states that how acidic it is to the organism, how harmful it is to the organism. Then is the smell or the odor, which you usually can evaluate when you're like side by going uh, against the water body. Then we have lastly about the next one comes in is the all these three you have to identify the name, and you also have to tell that if the water has these paints and oil and urine and feces, will all these three organisms survive? Come on, guys, just few seconds. No, that is absolutely right, because they will not get sufficient oxygen to survive. all of the oxygen is taken up in degrading these contaminants. So the oxygen which is required by these organisms to survive, and also for the plants to survive within that aquatic ecosystem, they won't get that oxygen, and hence they will die. So these things are the major polluters. So now coming to the next one, if we drink the polluted water, we can get sick. That is absolutely right. So what we will get? The first one, just reply to that because then you will get an answer. Yes, that's jaundice. Oh, the next one, yes, cholera. The third one, typhoid. Absolutely right. That's great, guys. We've been doing good. So, how can, lastly, is just to know that how can we manage, how we can protect our water bodies. So, firstly, is say no to plastics. So, we're not going to use plastics, we're not going to dump those plastics into the river water bodies and pollute them further. So, that is a big no no. Second is prevent oil pollution. How we can do that? We can do it during the festives when we are just offering during the festives, when we're putting up the flowers and we're doing certain offerings. That is how we can prevent those things. The third, because if you form the oil layer, the layer will help, it will just prevent the oxygen from the atmosphere to enter, or that could be taken up by the fishes or the plants in the aquatic ecosystem for them to survive that oxygen. Then to promote afforestation, that you have to build more and more and more trees, and you have to plant those trees. So that is how you're going to do it. The next part is when we're dumping the sewage. So, firstly, it is very important that at the city level, we have different treatment plants which takes all the wastewater or the sewage that is generated from our household to that particular one plant where they the waste is treated. They see all the load, all the contaminants are completely removed, and then they discharge into the river system. Or hence they can reuse that water in the gardens, or they can supply it to the industries if they need it. So, lastly, is the use of the environmental friendly detergents. Like I said, that it is very important to not contaminate and use the eco friendly measures. So, lastly, I hope you guys are ready, or I'll just give you a minute or so to get back with me with 2 glass of water, few petals and mud. So, let's just do a quick DIY and then we can wrap up the session and take up the questions.
Hi, everybody. I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the presentation uh, and found it very engaging and gathered a lot of tips and tricks and information from there. It's now time for the DIY. You have a minute or so. In case you don't have 2 glasses of water, in case you don't have petals, in case you don't have mud, quickly go grab it and come back. Gorika, I see you bang on ready with 2 glasses of water. That's great. Everybody, please be ready. Get 2 glasses of water. Do pani ki glass. Excellent, Medansh, Rupal. Okay, I see 2 glasses of water. Great. In fact, Medansh, it would be good if they are transparent glasses, like they are steel glasses. That's fine. Yeah, yeah, like that. Correct. So 2 glasses of glass. Use glass for the glass that you have, and Yeah, Avya, that's cool. That's correct. And have some petals. In case you don't have petals, you can get leaves also. That's also fine. But just get some petals. Okay, Bhavika, you have a lot of flowers. That is cool. Very correct. Ayansh, I see you too have flowers and petals. Do you have them? Okay. And you need to have some mud. थोड़ी सी मिट्टी. Okay. Medansh, I see you ready with petals. That's good. Okay. That's a lot of excitement over here. Yeah. Should we get started now? All right. So over to Mehak once again. Mehak, please guide our little water whiz kids with the tips that they can follow to conserve water.
Hi guys, I'm back and hope you all have arranged your glasses of water for the DIY. So the main purpose is to know that the difference between a clean water and the polluted one, and also a small little demonstration by me at the end just to make you understand how things work when the whole system or the ecosystem is disrupted if the pollution is in the water. So one glass of water, we're going to keep it clean, just plain water. And the other one, we're going to put a bit of soil. If you have leaves, you can put leaves. If you have flowers, you can put flowers. So that just works. तो एक में हम बिल्कुल भी कुछ नहीं डालेंगे, सिंपल वाटर रखेंगे और एक ग्लास में हम लोग अपना मिट्टी और लीव्स है किसी के पास में पत्ते हैं वो डाल दीजिए, नहीं तो आप फ्लावर्स भी डाल सकते हैं जैसे भी आपको कंफर्टेबल है। अब आप मुझे बताएंगे कि आपको क्या लगता है विजुअली विच इज अ क्लीनर वन। Yes, obviously, this one is clean than this. And if we also keep, if there is even more pollutant और कुछ भी अगर हम इसमें ऐड करेंगे तो अगर हम थोड़ा पीछे भी रहेंगे तब भी हमें स्मेल से पता चल जाएगा कि कौन सा वाला लेस पोल्यूटेड है या मोर पोल्यूटेड है और बिल्कुल भी पोल्यूटेड नहीं है। सो दीज आर द फ्यू थिंग्स। लास्टली मैं आपको ये बताना चाहती हूँ, आई जस्ट विल बी टेकिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर नैपकिन just to make you understand and just to like replicate it with the plant that is floating in or your organisms like fish that is in there। तो जब हम इस गंदे पानी में डालते हैं you can see कि इस पर्टिकुलर नैपकिन में भी वो सब गंदा और the pollutants they are trapped in, so it is well evident कि if we are keeping our water body polluted तो उसके अंदर जितने भी हमारे organisms है जितने भी हमारे plants है they will be taking up that water and they will eventually get all these contaminants, they will take up these all these contaminants, and as you very well know that these water bodies or rivers are also one of the sources for our food. So that is also to be kept in mind that we are not polluting just the river, our rivers, but also we are polluting the whole ecosystem that is dependent on the rivers. So this clearly states that why it is important for us to preserve and conserve and manage our rivers and keep them clean. So I hope with this particular DIY, you really got to understand through visually that to which is the polluted water body and how it really impacts us or the ecosystem that is dependent on that river. So this is our magazine, which I feel Anubhuti can explain you all regarding the same, and you can get an access to that as well. So over to you, Anubhuti.
Everyone, I'm back. And first of all, thanks a lot, Mehak, for this informative and very interesting session with the experiments. I think our kids enjoyed it a lot. They were very excited with their tumblers of water and with all the impurities and interesting stuff that you had asked them. I think by this learning and doing, they are going to surely remember how to differentiate between polluted water and clean water, and what all not to throw in the rivers whenever they pass through it. So, uh, let us now, let me tell you about, okay. So before, as Mehak had told from the last slide, let me take you through the Goba Times. So the Goba Times, as most of you would be aware, is one of the magazines that we published on the Young Environmentalist website. This website is purely all yours, for you, by you. Here it is. I've put it in the chat strip. Make sure that you keep checking the website for all the latest editions of our magazine. It's on environment. You can also write for us. You can also get yourself published on the website. There are posters, there are games, there are cartoons. So keep checking it out. Now, let us take up some questions. In case you have any doubts, in case you have any questions to ask to Mehak, please send them right now. You can raise your hands using the reactions button and I will come to you. In fact, I had noticed that a couple of you had questions to ask her. Yeah. Questions. Usually we have,
I think.
yeah. So Medansh, hi Medansh, let me unmute you. Now, the rule of the game is you introduce yourself, you tell your name, tell us your school, class, and location. All right? Name, school, class, and location.
My name is Vedant Rupal.
Medansh, we are not able to hear you. Can you raise your volume a little?
My name is Vedant Rupal.
Still can't hear you.
We can hear.
Oh, we can. Oh, all right, all right. So, Medansh, yeah. Please tell us, yeah.
My name is Vedant Rupal. I study in Delhi Public School, which is in Ludhiana, and I study in grade 6. So my question was that, like, due to some tragic events, something from the like cans or uh, things, plastic bottles, like they come to the seashore after a storm. So, like, are can these things be treated, or like should we keep them there and there, or should they be treated? If they should be treated, then how?
All right. Sorry.
Hi, Vedhansh. I hope you can hear me. Hello. Okay. So, answering to your question, firstly, it is very important for us to understand that why do they come to the shore? Because we are disposing them. We're just not managing and we're not keeping them right. We're not putting our plastics into the bins. So, like, if we are throwing it in the ocean is going to give us back. So, once it comes to the shore, all the solid waste, they have to be collected, and once it is collected, they are sent to a site where they are managed, because few of them are the waste that can be recycled, that can be reused, but still needs a bit of reprocessing. And we have certain plants which do the same. And certainly there will be certain other components to it which will be a waste, which won't have any purpose or use, or further need to be disposed of. And hence they directly, we have a term called as a landfill. So what we do is that we have a proper lined one, because below the ground, if you are digging the ground, so if you're making a big you're digging it and you're just keeping the the waste into it, there might be some chances that it can go to the underground water that is there, so that can be polluted. So what we do is that we dig the ground, we have a proper lining system which helps to manage the waste also, and keeps sure or makes sure that the pollutants, when over the period of time, they're not leaching in to the underground water. And hence that is how we do it. And the that is majorly the adopted practices which we follow. So firstly, don't do it. Just if you have plastics, put it in the bin. That's the best thing.
Right. All right, let's take up the next question. Shankara Iyer has raised his hand for quite a while. Shankara, please introduce yourself. Tell us which class, which school, and where are you located?
Okay, ma'am. My name is Shankara Iyer. I study in class 7th and I study in Chinmaya Vidyalaya, New Delhi. I have two questions to ask, ma'am. First is that what are the future plans being made to reduce the amount of waste generated by the residential area and many different through which all the wastes come. And ma'am, second question is that ma'am, what are the researches being made by the researchers so that the waste can be completely decimated? Can it be?
Thank you, Shankara, for asking me this question. That is a really, a mindful question when it comes to your age. So, answering to the first one, which is about, what are the management plans we being adopted to make sure that waste generation is less. Firstly, to your surprise, it will come that as our population is going to increase, the water consumption is going to increase, and hence the waste generation is going to increase. So, in order to manage the increased waste generation, what our government is planning is that firstly, they want people like us at the household level to first use less water. Like, make sure that we are not wasting the water. Like, use it when it is really necessary. All right. The second aspect, which is that we have, like I told, that we have how to manage the water is like, is we are having certain wastewater treatment plants. So these treatment plants are made up of certain capacity. Like, if for example I say we have 1,000 million liters per day that is generated. Now, this wastewater treatment plant has the capacity to only treat 500. Now, the 500 is again left, which is we are predicting that currently it is able to treat. But in the near future, it is going to be 1,000. So another for 500, what the management is doing, they are making certain improvisations. They're making few changes in the current one and also planning for the new ones. So the whole water, the waste that is generated can be treated. So these are the two things that they've been doing. And the third aspect to it is that once they have treated the water, now they want to make sure that if that treated water can be reused or recycled among the household or into different activities, so the water consumption decreases. So these are the few ways that they have been managing. The second aspect is, like you've been asking, that if we can like really make sure that no waste is generated or it can be managed. So the whole the concept is like, uh, um, you cannot like completely manage waste. um Either it majorly, yes, we are doing it, we are recycling, reusing it. And the other aspect is, which all of us should follow, is to reduce the consumption. Because you would have seen that even if it is not necessary, still while brushing our teeth, we are just putting our taps on and the whole water is being wasted. So all these things could be improved and could be followed so that the waste is not generated.
Thanks, Mehak. Let's take the third question of the day quickly. I see Manasvi Chauhan raising her hand for quite a while. Manasvi, tell us which class are you in and which school?
Ma'am, I'm in class 4th C and I'm from Cambridge School.
Okay.
And so my question was to Mehak ma'am that like we have learned about how we can save the oceans. We can keep our oceans clean. At this time, further how we can keep it clean. But my question was, what can we do about the waste which is already there?
That is a nice one. So the waste that is already there. So actually, what is happening is that there are a lot of clean drives going in, clean ocean drives that go in to keep the ocean clean. Because you see how the ocean goes like. So there's a wave that comes and then the wave that goes by, right? So whatever we are disposing it in our oceans, eventually they come to our shores. So they're coming to our shores. So we know they're no longer like, some of them, yes, they are into the ocean, like they are deep below it. And hence there are certain technologies that are adopted to like really remove the waste out of them from that particular area. But the other one, which is the floating ones, they eventually come to the shore. And once they're coming to the shore, that is where you do the clean drives, and that's how you kind of manage it. But the other aspect, which I have also told you, which is very important, that many industries are nearby built, near the ocean or the water body. So, what they can do is they can firstly treat their waste before they're disposing it directly to the water stream or the ocean. That is how you can take care of the dissolved aspect of the pollutants. The ones which are in the solid waste, eventually the floating ones will come to the shores, and the others which are deep below, there are certain technologies which help clean them. but that is how which we are doing for the current management.
Yeah. Thanks, Mehek. Let's quickly take the next question of the day. We have Tiara, and then I will come to Chitsimran Arora. All right. So, Tiara, please present your question quickly. Tell us which school are you in and where are you based?
Ma'am, my name is Tiara. I study in Cambridge Primary School, New Friends Colony, NFC, in class 4C. So I wanted to ask that like I don't understand that they people should keep their surroundings clean, so why don't they keep it? Instead they pollute everything in near the sea bodies, and don't keep it in the in near and in the dustbins.
That is a wonderful question and such an insightful thought that each one of us should really think upon and really should work upon it. Right, Tiara? So that is a very right approach, and that is where the initiatives are being taken. And I'm glad that all of you are connected with CSC's Young Environmentalist programs, so that you all get to learn, and so you guys can pass on this particular message to your elders, to your younger siblings, or to your classmates, that why it is so important and why people are not doing it. It is just that they feel that they have ample of resources with them. They are not understanding that we people, the population is increasing and the resource demand is also increasing, and it will be, for the last end, it will be like the survival for the fittest. So the one who is going to be the fittest one in the surroundings are only going to survive. Rest everybody is going to left will be left behind. So this is a very important, insightful thinking that all of us should really think upon and act upon, that what are we really doing to keep our resources away from pollution. So that is really good, and I wish you pass on that message.
All right, let's take our next question quickly. We have already reached 6 o'clock, so it's time that we move forward very quickly. The next question will be from Shakya. Shakya, thanks for dropping your message. Shakya wants to go for his tuitions quickly, so Mehak, it will be nice if you can answer it. Shakya, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Are you there, or have? I am being unmuted. Oh my God, I think Shakya has left. In the meanwhile, let's take the next question. Chitsimran, you were there next in line. Introduce yourself quickly, your class, your school, and which place.
Good morning, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I am Chitsimran. Ma'am, I study in Delhi Public School in Ludhiana, Punjab.
Chitsimran, we can't hear you.
Ma'am, I am Chitsimran. I study in Delhi Public School in Ludhiana, in Punjab. Ma'am, I had a question that, ma'am, plastic, how can we get rid of plastic? Ma'am, because if we put it in the ground, so the growing power of the ground will be in loss, and if we burn it, so climate change can be happening. If we put it into water, still the fishes and animals can die. If we throw it, still they can eat it and die. So how do we get rid of the plastic?
That's a nice, insightful thinking. Firstly, plastics are eventually, single-use plastics are eventually banned. And those who, because even if we don't have those stringent laws and people are also it's very difficult for the management to really see upon that who all are there who are still using or distributing the plastics. So it is very difficult. But majorly, if you go to good stores, they are really providing you with the paper bags, right? And if you're even, there is a very minimal use of plastics. So, first important thing is that by adopting on ourselves, like we have to start from our houses. We need to work on, or when we are going for shopping, let's just carry our carry bags, jute bags, or the cloth bags to bring our home materials or our veggies and stuff like that. Secondly, is what you can do is that you should, or if somebody is doing that, promoting or giving you in the poly bags, you can just request them to give you in the paper bags, or else you should always carry, as I told you, in your bags, and hence you can just ask them to just directly keep that. And the third aspect to it is that you can make sure that if because certain packaging they would require a bit use of the same, or certainly you might get, because through people to people and so on, plastic. So make sure that you have two bins, which is a biodegradable one, which keeps all the peels of your vegetables, or the waste that is, you feel, the leftover parts of something, or the dead leaves, you can keep in the biodegradable bins, one part, which is the organic waste. The second part to it that you can do is that you can keep a bin which is just containing the plastic sort of material, which you can give to the your person who can actually bring it back to the recycling or the reusable facilities, and they can work on it. So that is how you can do it.
Thanks, Mehak. Uh, let's take three more questions, or maybe I see so many raised hands. I think we'll take five more questions, but I would insist that you ask them quickly. At the same time, I will request Mehak also to give minimal responses to each of them so that everybody gets a chance to be answered. All right, Nikhil Pandey, here's your question. Introduce yourself and ask your question.
My name is Nikhil Pandey and I study in class 6 and my school's name is Chinmaya Vidyalaya. I have two questions. My first question is that there is a very big Mahakumbh is going on in the Prayagraj. So, as you said, what all the offerings we give to the rivers, so it makes the water polluted. And in the Mahakumbh's advertisement, even PM was talking about this. So what should we do about this, and what all we should do so that everyone can stop doing the wastage of water and throwing the waste in our rivers?
Thank you, Nikhil, for this important question. See, what we can do is, firstly, you can just have a small water body, or a small bit of water in a a kind of a pond which one can create, and there you can give offerings, and you can immerse your idols. That is what is being followed, rather than just going in the lump sum rivers. And because it is attached to the sentimental values, so people to get adapted to certain things will take a bit of time. But with the proper awareness and certain putting up best practices of such religious moves, can really help bring that change.
Next question of the day. I see Nirav Bansal raising his hand for quite a while. Nirav, and then after that, I will come to Kashvi. So Nirav, please introduce yourself and let's go ahead.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, my name is Nirav. Ma'am, my doubt is, ma'am, that ma'am, people get sand from the ocean. Ma'am, they bake salt beds and then they let the water evaporate. So, ma'am, when the water evaporates, ma'am, water is actually being wasted. So, ma'am, how can they take out salt from the ocean without wasting water?
Thanks, Neerav. Just to inform you, actually, the whole water cycle, how it works is, you often get water through evaporation, which is the process you've been telling that, the sea salt they're retrieving and the water is getting evaporated. It's not getting wasted. Don't worry about that. The water is not at all getting wasted. The wasted part is something like we say, using it in excess and also polluting it. That's how it is. So it is a one process of the water recycling aspect. So through evaporation and transpiration, leaves also release water. So that is the transpiration through plants. So these are the common aspects, so nothing to worry upon that.
Right. Second last question of the day, or maybe the third last. We'll go to Kashvi, then we go to Lavish, and we go to Harkunvar. Okay. Kashvi, please ask your question quickly. We'll then close the session soon after.
You can ask me.
Ma'am, my name is Kashvi. I'm from Cambridge Primary School. I'm in third C.
And then you can ask your question.
Excuse me, ma'am. Was the first river made? Ma'am, I can't hear you.
Which was the first river ever? Oh my God, that's a difficult part. Um, I also do not know exactly which is the first one, but because going into the history, which are the oldest ones, I can say that is Ganga. And through the Indus Valley civilization, when it started, we have the whole of the concept of Indus Valley is like the civilization which was embanked or survived or had come up was because of the riverbeds, along the riverbeds. So this is what I could answer. But yes, I would also need to like really Googling to really know its first name. But thank you.
Kashvi, your question was very difficult. It made our guests keep thinking. Lavish, next your question. Please please go ahead and ask it quickly.
Ma'am, my name is Lavish. I study.
I think Lavish has gone.
Mm, Ma'am,
Harkunvar, yours. Oh, we have Lavish. Lavish, we can't hear you.
ma'am, my name is Lavish. I study in Cambridge Primary School. My class is 4C. I have a question. Why we have made plastic bags?
See, plastic is not a wrong invention. Because if you use the paper ones, the one which is in the liquid form, they all drip in and they don't have a proper grip also, if you're carrying the heavy part of it. So, considering all those aspects and to also keep those things in mind, when you're coming to the materials, so it is very important for us to have certain materials being created to actually adjust ourselves to these problems and issues. But what we are trying to give this message is now they are using it in access. They are not managing it properly. So if anything you're not managing properly and using something which is a good invention in excess, then it will in turn be a bad one, or become a pollutant. So that is where this issue is, and we are hence telling let's just shift to our traditional values where we could adopt certain eco-friendly measures.
And now the last question. Sorry for this echo. So all right, now the last question of the day, Harkunvar, as I had promised you, here's your chance. Go ahead.
So, ma'am, good evening, ma'am. My name is Harkuar, and I study in class 6A in Delhi Public School, Ludhiana. And my question is, what is acid rain and from where it is developed?
Yeah. So acid rain is basically when we have a rain which has mixed of certain pollutants like nitrous oxide, sulfur oxides, all these components, and the sources of these are the industries which emit air pollutants in the atmosphere. So when they are present in the atmosphere and the rain, the clouds they come in and the rainwater and these pollutants they mix together, they form the acid rain. And that is where it was very dangerous in Taj Mahal, which it caused the yellowing of the marble because of the acid rain, the pollutants that were present in the acid. That is how it is. And nowadays it is very like told that don't have the first rain bath because it might be an acid rain.
All right, everybody, we have come to the session close. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for registering. And I hope you are now pepped up with lots of tips and suggestions and ideas on how to conserve water. And I hope that you will go ahead into and I hope that you will spread this energy and this new lessons learned today among your friends, colleagues, and family. And I wish you that you enjoy all your river based festivals with greater enthusiasm, but be careful. So, thank you so much for joining us today. In a few weeks, we will be coming up with a few more interesting sessions like these, especially the Cub Reporters program. We will also have the GSP Carnival. We will also have a few master classes. So stay tuned to us and keep checking out the Gober Times web magazine that we have with us. And most importantly, keep checking the Young Environmentalist website. I hope you like the website and you find lots of interesting material there. I have posted the link on the chat strip, so make sure you become and truly feel like a young environmentalist. Let's close this session and see you soon. Thank you. Bye bye. Hi. So, let me unmute all of you if I can, so that you can say your thank yous and goodbyes to our guest.
Bye,
Now
ma'am.
you can unmute yourself and you can say your thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Very thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Good afternoon, good evening, and thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Leave it.
Excuse me, ma'am. And good morning, ma'am. Because we will not meet on morning. So good night and good morning, ma'am. Bye, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.